thanks for joining us on Chicago Tonight Black Voices. I'm Brandis Friedman. On the show tonight, navigating the college application process after affirmative action has ended. An organization training black civic leaders for political futures. The historic YMCA in Chicago's Bronzeville neighborhood receives a preservation grant. Jamal Cole offers the last word on why he says bringing basketball back to the parks will help make Chicago's streets safer. And music, fashion, and photography are at the heart of an exhibition at the Art Institute. All that coming up, but our first story tonight, advice for future college students in a post-affirmative action world, right after this.
Chicago Tonight, Black Voices, is made possible in part by Fifth Third Bank and by the support of these donors.
At Fifth Third, we believe when diverse voices are heard and empowered, communities are made stronger, lives are made better, and the future holds greater promise for all. That's why we're proud to support Chicago Tonight Black Voices. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can drive change.
Rising high school seniors and their parents are navigating a new landscape while preparing their college applications. That's in light of last month's U.S. Supreme Court decision ending affirmative action. And of course, while those considerations begin with getting admitted, families are now also considering questions of an institution's ongoing commitment to diversity and inclusion once their child gets inside the gates. Joining us now are Jeffrey Beckham Jr., CEO of Chicago Scholars, Kevin Krebs, founder of Hello College, and Will Hobart, Executive Director of Bottom Line Chicago. Welcome, all three of you, and thanks for joining us. Jeffrey Beckham, let's start with you, please. Did this decision affect the advice that you're offering the students that you work with?
Yeah, I mean, not immediately. What we're doing is, really trying to get a firm hold of what's going to happen. We're talking to our institution and our college partners, and we're telling our kids to, continue to pursue the highest level schools that they can, to believe in themselves and realize that they are the customer. They do hold the power in the decisions that they're going to make when they're picking a college.
Do you get the sense that, the students feel differently about the process themselves?
I don't know if the students feel differently yet. I have heard from some of the parents, and the parents are worried. There's concern about what's going to happen. I think we think about the financial implications of this, like, will this eliminate scholarships that were once there for their students to access? We've heard more from the parents than the students. I do think students are starting to bubble up. You see some apprehension, some anxiety about what's going to happen in the future.
Kevin Krebs, has your advice on strategies for application essays changed?
Oh, 100%. I think every student has an ability to shape their story in their application and their essays and tell it in a very authentic way. And I think for a lot of applicants, they need to understand how that process works, how the colleges are going to evaluate them, and maybe it's going to change. But I think the earlier they get the advice on how to handle this and talk about their family backgrounds and maybe the adversities that they've had to overcome, I think the essays and the applications and then the demonstrated interest, visiting colleges and talking to the reps, those are all ways that these students can take control of their admissions situation.
Fine line, though, right? Not all students have the ability to maybe visit schools, and maybe they don't want necessarily their racial or ethnic background to be a part of their essay. Maybe they've got another story to tell.
Yeah, I think it's all about authenticity, right? And you have to be true to who you are. But there are a lot of things that you can do. If you don't have the means to visit schools, you can do a virtual tour. There are reps from each institution that oversees Chicago or whatever part of the country that you live in, but these kids need to be educated on how the process works. And I think coming from a Chicago public school background myself, a lot of times you don't have those support resources, or maybe like in my family situation and a lot of kids in Chicago, maybe your parents didn't go to college. And so, what we're trying to do is share a lot of, free resources and information to try to elevate the baseline understanding so that these kids have a little bit of a better leg up when it comes to their applications.
Will Hobart, should this change which institutions students are considering when they're deciding where to apply?
I'll build on a couple of themes that have already been touched on, and one of them is the student really being the consumer here. We really encourage, when we work with our students every day through this process, one of the things that we talk about the most is, where do you get a sense of belonging? Where do you feel like the college community is embracing all of who you are? and all of the identity markers that you hold. And I think for us, that will really continue as we move through this, is giving students that the data, the information that they need to make an informed decision about what colleges have not just recently started to embrace thinking about diversity in all of its forms, but have been doing it for years. And that's something we've really done a lot of work in the past 10 years here in Chicago, is developing strong partnerships with colleges that really lean and lead in this particular area.
Jeffrey Beckham, are colleges responding to this decision with diversity strategies of their own?
Yeah, I mean, I did a quick college tour right before this came down the pipeline, and schools like Iowa State, Whitman College, Lake Forest, WashU, all were thinking about this. Obviously, a lot of those schools are in states where legislation was already in place to eliminate race-based admissions, and so the schools are really trying to be better and be a better partner to institutions like ours, the Bottom Lines, and others out there, to find the students to make sure that their populations and demographics of campus are still racially diverse.
Kevin, some prominent universities, they've recently announced that they're planning to end legacy admissions. Do you think this will make a difference in racial diversity at schools?
That's the goal. I mean, I think at the end of the day, there's a total lack of transparency in higher education that makes this process confusing for a lot of families. And I think if we all know what we're playing against, then it's going to equal the playing field for a lot of us. And I think for students of color, black students, I think if there are fewer legacy spots, I think that's going to open up a lot more seats at the table. And I think it's the right decision. And you've had MIT and Carnegie Mellon and some Ivy League schools starting to come. My alma mater, Northwestern, has brought that down. Their endowments are going to be fine in the long run. So hopefully that continues.
Will Hobart, could the decision change anything when it comes to financial assistance? We've kind of talked about it a little bit here, and the impact that this decision might have on, scholarships for people who are from marginalized communities.
Yeah, I mean, we hope not, but there's certainly, we'll have to see. Time will tell. I think for us, affordability is such an important part of our college going process journey with students. We really work with students to help them understand what the true cost of college is at each institution. And again, many institutions are very good at offering a lot of financial aid that isn't just in the form of scholarships, but helping students kind of put together federal aid, state-based aid that is that really helps make those college opportunities affordable.
Jeffrey, what should parents and students look for at institutions that proves that this school is actually committed to a diverse student body and not checking a box?
Yeah, I think, we always talk about telling our students to find people on campus. So, making sure that there's, a point of contact, a campus contact, a person that you have that you can go to, not just in the admissions process, right? Not just that counselor, but someone that's actually a physical person on campus while you're there. We also tell the students to make sure they're talking to other students that are there. We're fortunate enough to have over 5,000 students in our program historically go through our program, 3,000 currently in college. And so we usually have a student on campus where someone's there that they can talk to who come from a similar background and makeup that they do. So we're telling them, go ask all the questions, show up, be present if you can, take advantage of the fly-in days that schools have, because that's when you'll get to see and get a real feel of what's real and what's not.
Jeffrey, what would you say parents and students, sorry, you're Jeffrey. Kevin, what would you say parents and students should look for at institutions to be certain that school is interested in diversity?
I think, playing off of what you said 100%, it's not just getting in, but what are you going to do for me when I get there? What types of support services? If you've never been in that type of environment and you're the one, people are always going to look at you like you're the one. You're like, I don't want to be the one. I just want to be here and I just want to learn, right? So what types of support services are there? And if you want to be that active voice, that's great. But for a lot of kids, this is a totally foreign environment. And I think we don't just need to get them there, but we need to hold their hand and make sure they're successful so they come out the other side. And that's the whole goal of going to colleges, so that you're prepared for your future.
And while we've got you, tips for application essays, what should students know to include?
Yeah, I think it starts with, the earlier you can get to students, the better. Freshman, sophomore year, activities and things like that, but things like family responsibilities, jobs, things that you've had to overcome in your community, these are ways to authentically share your story that colleges can relate to, because the grades are the grades, the test scores are the test scores. They want to get to know who you are as a person.
Will, what are some resources for parents and students that would help navigate this process?
Bottom line is one great resource, as are the other organizations on this panel tonight. We are actually currently recruiting students, both rising seniors, to join our high school access program, and then also to the theme just a few minutes ago about sticking it through once students are in college. Our success program works with students up to 6 years while they work through and complete their bachelor's degree. Both programs are still enrolling students right now, and we'd love to have any students that are on their way to college or certainly aspiring to go to college join our programs.
Of course, we all know it's not just about getting in college. We have to get through college, have to persist. Jeffrey Beckham, Kevin Krebs, and Will Hobart, thanks to the three of you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The historic YMCA in Chicago's Bronzeville neighborhood has just received a $437,000 grant from the National Park Service to preserve the cultural landmark. The funds will help restore what was once a safe haven for people of color who came to Chicago during the Great Migration and prepare for future generations.
Harlem Globetrotters used to practice here. Conrad talks about, when he was alive, talked about the running track that was above the gym. Now there is a running track out in the suburbs that sort of capture that potential for young African Americans to learn track. This was also where the publishers, African American publishers, group started. It was also where African American Studies with Carter G. Woodson started here as well. So it has lots of historical significance to African Americans who know the history.
We have many needs for the YMCA, and with that $437,000, we plan to renovate the pool, which a lot of individuals have learned to swim. In addition to that, we plan to renovate the locker rooms. We plan to renovate the mural, historic mural, which has a lot of importance related to the Bronzeville community, as well as common areas to ensure that, like Pat said, once again, to bring the building up to par to set the tone for the next 20 years for Bronzeville.
We wanted to be able to tell a story, and we wanted to save the building to do that.
That work also includes updating the transitional housing unit directly next door, which holds 100 units. They also have plans to update their industrial kitchen and provide more mental health resources. Up next, training Black civic leaders for political futures. Prepping more Black millennials for a future in civic leadership is the mission of a local organization, Black Bench Chicago. The group started a couple of years ago and has already demonstrated an impact on Chicago politics. Here with how it all works is a co-founder of the organization, Alex Sims Jones, who is also the president of the consulting agency APS and Associates. Alex, thanks for joining us.
Of course, thanks for having me.
So what motivated you to start this program?
Yeah, I was with friends talking about the lack of this experience in our sector and in our generation. Really, we talked a little bit about the fact that in past generations they had something that taught them each step of the civic engagement sector, and we were kind of missing that. I spoke with former Treasurer Kurt Summers. He said there was something for President Barack Obama, something for Jesse Jackson Jr. They were all in a class, and then it kind of skipped the generation. So exactly.
So those programs didn't exist anymore for this next generation. And
Yeah.
obviously it's not just for those who are running for office. It's also, those who want to serve in other public capacities, maybe through an appointment or... Exactly.
It's for the whole public affairs sector. We really seek out experts in their field. So anyone from an activist to a lawyer to, a president of a museum. And what it ended up being is us getting together for a 6-month period, 6 courses done by our advisory council. And our advisory board is amazing. We span with a bunch of Chicago's experts.
What kind of training do folks receive?
Yeah, so if I could, I could talk about the fact that we had, Ken Bennett come in, and Ken told all of these students
Ken
about...
Bennett, father of the Chancellor Bennett, yes.
Exactly.
Also known as Chance the Rapper, yeah.
And Ken had worked in the Herald administration. He'd worked for the dailies. He'd worked for President Obama, and recently, now he's, a retired dad of a cool person. But, he was really sharing the Chicago machine. He was talking about the organizing side and just teaching us each step along the way. Another example is, we had training sessions about actual campaigns. So how to create a campaign budget. Quentin Folks came in and did that, and Quentin is now Biden's deputy campaign manager, but he was JB's deputy campaign manager, and he came in and taught young people how to do that. Brandon Johnson's campaign manager, Jason Lee, came in and taught us about how to create a field plan. So it's really talented people, of our generation, passing on what they've learned.
Many, as you've mentioned, have come out of the program, been pretty successful. Kennedy Bartley is the new executive director of United Working Families. Yeah. Anthony Driver is the president of the City of Chicago Community Commission for Public Safety and has joined us on this program in Chicago Tonight many times. Yeah. List goes on. What do you credit the success of the program to?
Yeah, I think one, those folks are incredibly accomplished, but way before they came to Black Bench. And when they came, what it brought is additional community. There's not a lot of spaces in our sector where young Black people can kind of congregate, be vulnerable, share what we're truly feeling, and not feel as if there's the systemic racism that does exist within our industry. So it's really a time where they can all learn about each other. And as Black people, we are a monolith. Our opinions are not a monolith. Our opinions are very different. So when you get us all in one room, we may have some Black Republicans in the room, some Black Democrats, and you may have some socialists, and everyone in the same room being able to talk that out about our goals for Black liberation. It's really powerful.
You focus specifically on millennials. Is that because you think that's the age group that's, most ready for this, the age group that got sort of, overlooked for this particular kind of training?
Yeah, I think it was the gap that we experienced and saw. It's also pretty selfish. I'm a millennial. But what I really was experiencing was, I had people like former Treasurer Kurt Summers, like Mike Stratmanis, like Andy Zopp, who wanted to pass on what they've learned, and that we were kind of that next group. We also were really lucky to have Jackie Grimshaw and Jesse White chair the program, so the generation above them, to really help us out and show the difference of Chicago politics. Millennials does go a little further up in age than you would imagine.
Millennials are getting on in years.
Yeah, but we're the ones kind of influencing this next change.
What challenges would you say you've had to overcome while helping people navigate these spaces?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is being able to be addressed as a true expert in the space. As a Black person in the space, your expertise is always questioned. So having a group that you can lean on that can remind you of that and remind you, yes, you are the expert, and speak from your chest is really influential and helpful.
What's the importance of having this space, of having a space specifically for Black millennials to do this work?
Yeah. I think that, when, for example, most recently Ronnie Mosley ran for alderman, and Ronnie helped, co-found the program. So when Ronnie needed support from the labor unions, he could lean on the group that he already knew worked in the labor unions. When Ronnie needed support from the business sector, like the cannabis sector, we have people like Ty Duncan, who's in the cannabis sector. We have people like Treg, who's in Related. So people in his own cohort were able to help him support, get through his election, and now he's an alderman.
What's next for Black Bench? Like how long can you keep this going, right? Because like you said, the millennials they're going to be older later on, and everybody will be in.
This is so true. Yeah. Well, we have a class right now. They just applied, so all the applications were due by Wednesday. So right now the advisory board is reviewing all of those applications for our second cohort. We try not to do this on during election cycle because so many of our people are part of that. So this is a good time for us. So maybe another year from now, we'll do another class and then see what really is needed. Maybe we'll invite Gen Zers, I'm not sure.
How many students or how many folks are you able to take per class?
Yeah, we have about 30 in a cohort. And those 30, like I said, they range from a head of a museum like David Peterson to one of our strongest activists in our community. So it's just about being an expert in your field. And I think the 30 number allows people to still speak but not be overwhelmed by, the room.
Okay, Black Bench Chicago. Alex Sims Jones, thank you so much for joining us and explaining that for us.
Thanks for having me.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Up next, capturing Black beauty and power in an exhibition at the Art Institute. Stay with us. From From Stevie Wonder and high fashion models to everyday people all over the world, a photographer helped capture Black beauty and power in the 1960s and 70s. His name was Kwame Brathwaite, and he died soon after an exhibition of his work opened at the Art Institute. We recently visited the museum for a tour of the show. Here's another look.
I say he's essentially synonymous with the Black is Beautiful movement and to developing the aesthetic that we associate with it and creating the images that allow us to look back and understand its trajectory.
Kwame Brathwaite photographed jazz vocalist Abbey Lincoln, reggae giant Bob Marley, and he toured the world to promote Pan-African creativity. Seen here in a self-portrait in the 1960s, the artist and activist documented things well worth waiting for.
You really see this career developing over time and these connections made with various people, and just the richness of his engagement and his commitment to both documenting Black culture and celebrating it and creating it all at the same time.
Brathwaite organized fashion shows and concerts. He photographed album covers, and he used his darkroom skills to shed light on pivotal moments of positivity and empowerment.
He was passionate about Black and white photography, really thought carefully about his printing and how to bring out Black skin tones, Black hair, and to bring out these tones and textures that film wasn't necessarily developed to process accurately.
A photographer for 7 decades, he found inspiration in music and musicians.
Throughout his career of making photographs, he's constantly reviewing albums, reviewing festivals, and music and photography for him are very intertwined. They're also intertwined at the level of composition. He was really interested in thinking about his photographs as responding to or relating to the rhythms of Black music. It's almost like you can hear the images sometimes. Something that I love about the exhibition is how when you spend time with it, you can see the connections across various mediums and across various communities and moments and times.
Kwame Brathwaite died on April 1st. He was 85 years old. The exhibition of his work is at the Art Institute of Chicago until July 24th. You can discover more on our website. Summer in Chicago is when parks come alive with people enjoying the outdoors and especially playing sports. But in recent years, basketball nets and even rims in some city parks have been removed, leaving kids who want to play without a shot. Activist Jamal Cole says that's not fair. Here he gives the last word on why he says bringing back basketball to the parks will lead to a safer city.
My name is Jamal Cole. I'm the founder of My Block, My Hood, My City. We're a social impact organization, and our mission is to take care of people no matter what. I'm at Columbus Park because, it's summertime, and all over Chicago, we're starting to notice basketball rims being taken down. And more than that, we're starting to see anti-theft steering wheel locks put on basketball hoops, preventing kids from being able to shoot. Because I don't see y'all taking down the tennis nets, I don't see y'all taking down the volleyball nets, I don't see y'all taking down the soccer nets, but y'all putting steering wheel locks on basketball rims. That's not fair. And parks belong to everybody. How are you gonna find the next Isaiah Thomas or next Derrick Rose if you can't even play street ball, right? I love basketball. Basketball took me around the world. Like, I went to college, I got a business degree, but it all started on the streets playing basketball. The parks are an easy way for you to make friends. Playing basketball is a good way for you to build leadership, learn discipline, learn how to be on time. You get to meet your neighbors. You say, oh, I recognize who you were. You get to have small talk in community, right? That's what the parks are for. Like, taking basketball rims down does not make your neighborhood safer, but putting them back up can be the start to building community. If the spaces are active, if the basketball rims are up, then 40 to 60 kids per day can be playing at those courts. That's keeping 40 to 60 kids out of gangs, out of trouble, out of breaking into your crib. That's giving them something to do, for real. We hear about all these carjackings going on. These kids are on the court. They're not breaking into the cars. They're actually, and people like me can mentor them. While we're on the court, we can talk to them. We're doing something about it. We have a Save Streetball initiative. We are raising money for new nets and new hoops all throughout Chicago. Let us know if you have a neighborhood park that needs a new rim or needs a new net. Donate to the initiative. We need y'all support to make it happen. We're going to come work with your community, work with the park district, friends of the parks, a couple of your friends, a couple of my friends, anybody that wants to save Streetball and just have a safe summer. If you see me out on the court in your neighborhood, come play 32 with me, come play 21. I want to get to know you. I love Chicago, right? And I love Chicagoans. That's what I want. Come holler at me.
You can find more on Jamal Cole's Save Streetball initiative on our website, where you can also watch more in our Last Word series. And that's our show tonight. Be sure to check out WTTW.com/news for the very latest from WTTW News. And if you're watching us on Friday night, know that you can also catch Black Voices and Latino Voices on Saturdays beginning at 6 p.m. Now, for all of us here at Chicago Tonight Black Voices, I'm Brandis Friedman. Stay healthy and safe, and have a good night.
Closed captioning is made possible by Robert A. Clifford and Clifford Law Offices, a Chicago personal injury and wrongful death firm, and proud sponsor of programming that offers advice and strategies to enhance the physical and mental well-being of fellow legal practitioners in Illinois.